Hello, and a very warm welcome back to the podcast. I am so glad you are here today because the topic we are covering in this episode is something that literally every single person on this planet deals with at some point or another. And that topic is confidence in communication. Now, before we dive in, I want you to just stop for a second and think about this with me. If confidence simply came from thinking about being confident, then who would be the most confident people alive on this planet? It would be the overthinkers, right? Because they think more than anybody else. But surprisingly, and you already know this, overthinkers are usually the least confident people in the room. So that tells us something very important right at the start. Confidence is not about thinking. It is about doing. Whether you are sitting in an important office meeting, standing in front of a crowd giving a presentation, facing a tough interview panel, or even doing something as simple as ordering food at a restaurant or starting a conversation with a complete stranger, in all of these moments, we all want to come across as confident, polished, and genuine individuals. But here is something I have personally observed over and over again. There are so many people out there who try to appear confident, yet something feels off. It feels like they are performing. It feels like they are wearing a mask. There is a very thin, very delicate line between genuinely radiating confidence and simply boasting or pretending to be something you are not. And most people, without even realizing it, end up on the wrong side of that line. So today, we are going to work on exactly that, how you truly come across in society. We are going to cover 3 highly actionable steps that you can start implementing immediately after this episode ends. And I want to make this very clear right now, there will be no random, empty motivational quotes here. No believe in yourself and magic will happen nonsense. Just pure, real, implementable actions that will make a genuine difference. I would suggest you grab a pen and a piece of paper right now, because you are going to want to write some of this down. Let's get into it. Transition sound effect segment 1. The foundation awareness is everything, host. Before we get to the 3 steps, I want to lay down the foundation, because without this foundation, the steps won't make complete sense. Most of us want the same thing. We want people to look at us and think, wow, what confidence. So polished, so positive, so sure of themselves. That is the image we want to project. That is the impression we want to leave. But here is the hard, uncomfortable truth that most people are not willing to hear. Most people already have knowledge. What they lack is awareness. And it is this specific lack of awareness that is silently stopping them from becoming truly confident communicators. Now, when I say awareness, I mean something very specific. I mean knowing exactly what to speak, when to speak, and how to speak in any given situation, at any given moment. That is real awareness. Let me give you a very simple analogy to make this crystal clear. Imagine you are baking a cake. You have beautiful, rich, heavy icing ready to go on top. But the base of the cake, the sponge, is extremely weak and crumbly. What is going to happen the moment you put that heavy icing on top? The entire cake is going to collapse. It cannot hold the weight. Communication works exactly the same way. If your basics are weak, if your foundation is shaky, then no matter how much you try to layer confidence on top of it, it will not hold. The structure will fall apart. You need to work on the basics first, from the ground up, to build confidence that is real and comes from within you. Now, I know many of you have heard the advice, fake it till you make it. And in some areas of life, that advice can be useful. But when it comes to speaking and communication, I want to challenge that idea directly. Because when you are speaking, the people around you, your colleagues, your interviewers, the strangers you meet, they are smart. Human beings are incredibly good at detecting authenticity. They can sense, almost instantly, whether you are being genuine or whether you are just performing. So if you fake it, they will see right through you. And once that happens, your credibility is gone. People will judge you not as confident, but as someone who is pretending. And that is the exact opposite of what we want. So right now, make yourself a promise. I am going to build genuine confidence, not a performance. Alright, let us get into our first step, which is train your brain. And I want to start this with a question. Why do you not feel confident when you speak? Really think about it for a moment. Why does your voice shake? Why do your thoughts go blank? Why do you stumble over your words? Here is a very simple way to understand it. Imagine that you have never been to a gym in your entire life. You have never lifted a single weight. You have never done any form of martial arts or physical training. Now, someone asks you to go on stage and say, I can lift 200 kilograms, and I am a black belt in martial arts. Would you feel confident saying that? Absolutely not. And the reason is not that you are a bad person or that you are naturally weak. The reason is that your brain immediately responds and says, hey, where is the proof? Where is the data to support this claim? Your brain cannot back it up, so your body refuses to feel confident about it. This is exactly what happens when it comes to speaking. Confidence does not come from just opening your mouth and talking. It comes from convincing your brain with real data, with real practice and real experience. Let me share a story to make this point even more real. Back in school and college, there was a student who used to participate in a lot of stage events, anchoring shows, debating competitions, storytelling events. And during those events, she felt like the most confident person in the entire room. She was comfortable. She was fluent. She owned the stage. But here is the catch: 3 or 4 days before every event, she was given a complete, detailed script. She knew exactly what to say, word for word. She knew exactly how to welcome the chief guest, exactly what lines came after what. Her confidence existed because she had a safety net. Now, take that script away. Ask her an impromptu question. Ask her to speak on a topic she was not prepared for. Suddenly, everything changes. She goes completely blank. Her hands start shaking. She starts worrying, am I using the right tense? Did I just use the wrong verb? Is my grammar correct? All of that practice confidence gone in an instant. Her confidence was what I call conditional confidence. It only showed up when certain conditions were met. And the moment those conditions changed, the confidence disappeared. Does this sound familiar? Because this is what happens to almost all of us in interviews, in meetings, when talking to someone new. We feel nervous and blank because our brain does not have enough practice data to back us up in that moment. Think of your brain like a computer or a programming system. If you code it correctly, if you train it with the right inputs, it will respond exactly the way you need it to. But if you never train it, if you never give it the right data, it simply will not perform. It has no program to run. So the action here is clear: train your brain every single day. But how you train your brain depends on where you currently are in your journey. So let me break this down into the categories. If you're a beginner, meaning you're just starting out and speaking in English or in public feels very uncomfortable and unfamiliar, here is what you need to do. Speak every single day for at least 2 to 3 minutes. It does not have to be a grand speech. Talk to yourself. Talk about your plans for the day. Describe what you see around you. Narrate your morning routine. It does not matter what you talk about. And here is the most important instruction for beginners. So please hear this carefully. Completely forget about grammar. Forget about pronunciation. Forget about vocabulary. Do not sit there judging and criticizing every word that comes out of your mouth. Do not stop yourself every 5 seconds to think about whether your sentence structure was correct. Why? Because right now, your only goal is to let your tongue get used to speaking. You are sending a signal to your brain that says, hey, we are doing this. We are working on this. And once your brain receives that signal consistently, day after day, it will start to adapt. Fluency and accuracy will come naturally over time. But you have to start by removing the inner critic and just speaking. If you are an intermediate, meaning you can speak, you can get your point across, but you lack natural flow. You lack fluency. You lack that effortless quality in your speech, then talking to yourself is no longer enough. You have outgrown that exercise. And staying there is actually going to keep you stuck. Think about it this way. If you go to the gym and you can comfortably lift 5 kilograms, and you keep lifting 5 kilograms every single day for the next year, will you get stronger? No, your body has adapted to that weight. To grow, you need to increase the challenge. You need to try 7.5 kilograms. You need to break the muscle so it can rebuild itself stronger. The same principle applies to your speech. If you keep speaking on easy, comfortable, familiar topics, you will stay at the same level forever. You need to increase the difficulty. Challenge yourself with tougher topics, unfamiliar scenarios, and situations that make you slightly uncomfortable. That discomfort is where the growth lives. It is just like a video game. You start on easy mode, and that is fine. But if you never move to medium mode, and then to hard mode, you never actually develop the full skill. You need to keep leveling up. And at this intermediate stage, there is one more critical thing you need: expert mentorship. You need someone who can look at your specific communication habits and pinpoint exactly where you are going wrong. Because when you practice alone, you cannot always see your own blind spots. You might be repeating the same mistakes over and over again without even realizing it. A good mentor or coach will identify those specific errors and help you correct them before they become permanent habits. Transition sound effect segment 3. Step 2. Initiate the conversation host. Wonderful. So that was step 1, train your brain. Now let us move on to step 2, which is initiate the conversation. Think about every group setting you have ever been in. A team meeting at work, a dinner with a new group of people, a networking event, a waiting room, a social gathering. In every single one of these settings, if you observe carefully, there is always that one person. The person who naturally takes ownership. The one who looks at the menu and confidently says, "Okay, everyone, shall I order for the table?" The one who walks into the office meeting room and, within the first 2 or 3 seconds, breaks the silence and gets things started. When that person walks into a room, everybody feels their energy. Everybody notices.